Hey guys, welcome to my continuing discussion on long-term debt. Today my discussion is going to cover convertible bonds. These are bonds that can drive down the street because they're convertibles. Okay, not quite true. Convertible bonds are bonds that can convert into common stock at the discretion of the investor. My goal of this pencast is to learn how to record the sale of convertible bonds and then their subsequent conversion into common stock. So to give you a visual idea of what we have here is we have an organization that issues bonds, which is debt, that can, by the terms of the indenture it's issued under, convert into common stock. It's one or the other, it's not both. So here we have a security that you can issue as debt but can turn into equity. This is nice because the debt goes away and now you have common stock that exists in its place, which doesn't require interest payments or debt servicing. So kind of an interesting creature. It's debt that has a feature of equity built into it. The author lists and discusses several reasons why someone might be interested in issuing or buying common stock, but the bottom line is it sweetens the offer and makes the bonds easier to issue. To consider it a sweet offer. Ha! Let me describe a situation for you of a sweet offer, and we'll learn to do the accounting for it. In the first part of our facts, let's say we'd like to issue $5 million worth of convertible bonds at 102%, and that when these bonds were issued, the indenture said that they could be converted into 10,000 shares of common stock, which had a par value of 100, at the discretion of the investor. What would the journal entry look like to record this issue of bonds? A pretty straightforward issue. Cash of $5,100,000. Bonds payable, picking up the face value, as always, of the bond, and the difference being recorded into bonds premium. So let's go down the road a little bit in our convertible bond. Sorry. And the bonds had a carrying value of $5,500,000. Let's assume that the investor made an election to convert one half of the bonds they owned into 5,000 shares of stock. Where did I get 5,000 shares? Oh, we said all of them could convert to 10,000. So 50% are converting. I would assume that would be 5,000 shares. How about you? Does that make sense to you? Well, let's get a little bit of an analysis going. Seems like a problem where we'd want to know where we are. We have our bonds payable, and when we issued them at $5 million, and it says our premium is currently at 100 or 500,000 left. Oops. And I see I have to change my conversion feature. I really meant to say that they had 5,050,000 left. Sorry, so they're halfway amortized. That's going to make a difference. They can't have a carrying value of greater than when we bought them, can they? So they're halfway through their life. So their current carrying value, I got too excited when I saw the bonds driving down the road. Their current carrying value is 5,000 or 5,050,000. That's 100% of the bonds, and that's using our corrected number right there. And that 50% of them are going to convert. Well, 50% of that bond would be 2,500,000. 50% of the premium that's left would be 25,000. So the amount of carrying value that's going to convert is 50% of 5,050,000, or $2,525,000. And all I did was take 50% of all of these to get to that number. And this is going to convert into 5,000 shares of stock. The total amount could have converted to 10,000 shares, but once again, only 50% converted. What might that entry look like? Well, first of all, we have to get rid of half of our bonds payable because half of them have gone away. And we calculated that. That's $2,500,000. And we have to get rid of our premium on bonds payable, at least to the degree it relates to this amount, which is $25,000. So I need to move $2,525,000 into common stock. This could get a little tricky, so follow me. The common stock we're going to issue has a $100 par value, and it said we're going to issue 5,000 shares, so do the math. Par value of the stock we issue is going to be $500,000. What would we put the remaining credit into? Well, you have just issued 5,000 shares, get my other zero in there, of common stock for, in a sense, $2,525,000. So you picked up the par value in common stock into paid-in capital from common stock. Of course, you would put the difference. Do the math and tell me what it takes to make this journal entry balance. That would be $2,025,000. So you issued some common stock. The bottom line is you issued 5,000 shares of stock for $2,525,000. He didn't get cash in the amount of $2,525,000. Rather, you use that to eliminate debt. Don't you just think that that is fascinating? That concludes our discussion on convertible bonds. Thanks for joining me.